Hello everyone and welcome to your own show of economics, that is Economics on the Move. Today on the Economics on the Move, we will be discussing a very important topic. All of us are aware that in the month of June, the Cabinet Ministry they gave the proposal that they are about to bring a bill in the parliament which is related with the agricultural reform, and in the month of September they have passed the bill from the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. Since then we have seen the farmer protests across the India, especially in the Punjab and Haryana region. But in the last 20 to 22 days, we have seen a great amount of agitation and protest in the outskirt areas of Delhi. In the overall bill which the government has brought and now which has become the act, that is Farm Act 2020, I'll be discussing a terminology, that is minimum support price, which has become the talk of the town, and there are a lot of people who are interested about this minimum support price. They wanted to understand that what this concept is all about, how it is calculated, why the farmers are demanding and why the farmers are continuously shouting that the MSP has been removed from this very act. So what is the importance of MSP, and if it is removed, then what will be its repercussions? So let's start and try to see that what MSP is all about and why it is very important for the farmer as well as for the country as a whole. Okay, so here we are talking about the minimum support price, that what minimum support price is all about. See what I have written, that minimum support price is an agricultural product price set up by the government of India to purchase directly from the farmer. Minimum support price is those kind of minimum price which has been set up by the government of India on those agricultural product which has been produced by the farmer. So when the farmer, they just go for producing the different kind of agricultural product, the government of India set up a minimum price, that this is the price on which we are going to purchase your commodity. So this rate is to safeguard the farmer to get minimum profit for the harvest. So what is the benefit? The benefit is that the government of India declares the MSP, and the purpose behind that is to safeguard the farmers. The purpose is that the farmer should be safeguarded from any kind of exploitation, because the government is on the forefront to purchase the crop or purchase those productivity which has been, or those product which has been produced by the farmer, and the government, they give a minimum profit, minimum assurance, or set a minimum price for the farmer, so that whatever they have produced, they should get a minimum profit for that. Now talking about the MSP, that how the which is the body which declares the MSP, like when we talk about the minimum support price, so there are a list of commodity on which the government declares that this is the particular price on the quintal basis, on which we are going to purchase the commodity. Let's suppose they have set a price for the wheat, for the rice, and for the different kind of product. So this particular MSP, this particular price assurance of the minimum price is being fixed on the recommendation of CACP. So CACP is a body which fix the price, which declares that this is the price for this particular year for this particular commodity. So it is Commission for Agriculture Cost and Price. This body has been established in 1985. Previously this body is called as Agricultural Price Commission, which was established in 1965. You can say just before the Green Revolution. So this body, always remember that for setting up of MSP, the CACP is responsible, and its headquarters is in Delhi, and Professor Vijay Paul Sharma is the current chairperson of this CACP. So we are going to have much discussion on the MSP. We'll talk about one after another the issues which are related with the MSP. Okay, so now we will see that how this purchasing system operates in the economy, how the government go for procuring or purchasing all the commodities on the MSP, and how the farmer, they just go for selling all the commodities in the agricultural market at the MSP. See, the Indian agricultural system has been divided into two parts. One is the Kharif system and another one is the Rabi system. Kharif system is a sowing system between July to October, and the Rabi system is from October to March. This is how the agricultural season system works in India, and the same system is being followed in Pakistan and Bangladesh also. So now when we are talking about the minimum support price, that is the price at which the government just go for purchasing all the output of the farmers. Let's suppose that there is a farmer, okay, and he has, let's suppose, the produce the wheat. Okay, so how this MSP system will work? When he has produced the wheat, let's suppose the total amount of output which he has generated this session or this season is, let's suppose, 100 quintal. Okay, so what he will do, he will just sell out this whole 100 quintal and he will just pick all his commodities and he will just visit to APMC market. Technically in Hindi it is also called as a mandi, any agricultural produce marketing committee. He will just go and just sell out all the output which he has generated this session in the APMC mandi. One more thing, before the sowing season, that is before the Kharif and Rabi season begins, the CACP, means Commission for Agricultural Cost and Prices, this body makes the announcement that what is the price the government has set up for the different types of crop, especially for this very session. So when they make the announcement that the government has made the plan of purchasing the wheat, let's suppose at 2500 quintal. So if the farmer thinks that okay, this is a good price, this is a beneficial, this is a lucrative price, so he will just go for producing the wheat. So in quintal it is 2500, so in kgs it will be rupees per will be 25 per kg. Okay, so if he is going to sell out the wheat to the government agencies, especially in the mandi, he is going to get 25 per kg for the wheat, because the government agency, that is CACP, has already announced before this sowing season. So now what will happen, that whatever he has produced in the form of wheat, that is 100 quintal, he is going to sell all these in the mandi and he will get the payment according to the government announcement, that is according to the MSP which the government has set up for the wheat. Okay, one more thing, always remember that it is not compulsory. Okay, it is not compulsory that the farmer has to sell out all his output in the APMC mandi, because in India, according to the NSSO, this National Sample Survey Organization, approximately more than 90% of the farmers in India, they are not in a position to carry all their output and go to the mandi and sell out their product. So according to NSSO, they are of the opinion, or they have given this data, that 90% of the farmers, they are bound to sell out their output either to the private players, or either to some private shop, or either to some kirana stores. And obviously we know that if the government has set up, or the government has given or announced the price of wheat this year as 25 rupees per kg, so obviously the private players, they are not going to give 25, they will not give more than 19 or 20 or 21. So we can say that although the situation is very much pathetic, although the situation is very much catastrophic according to the NSSO data, then also at least 10% of the farmers are there in India who are at least enjoying the benefits of the MSP. So now what will happen, that after the government is gonna procure all the wheat from the mandi, they will just send out to the different institution to procure this commodity. Why? Because of the reason that after that they are gonna send to the PDS, public distribution system, and through the PDS they will just send out all the commodities to the ration center, and from the ration center, those of the people who falls below the poverty line, they will be able to just purchase the commodity at a very lower price. So now what are the institutions which has been assigned this procurement responsibility? This is a small point which I have mentioned. After MSP has been declared, the government also organizes procurement operation of this agricultural commodities through various public and cooperative organizations. So once the government announced the MSP, these agencies starts preparing themselves for procuring the different kind of this output. Okay, so what are these agencies which has been assigned this responsibility? First of all, FCI means the Food Corporation of India, then CCI, Cotton Corporation of India, JCI, Jute Corporation of India, CWC, Central Warehousing Corporation, NAFED, National Agriculture Cooperative Marketing Federation of India Limited, and then NCCF, National Consumer Cooperative Federation of India Limited, then CFSS, Small Farmers Agro Consortium. So these are the institutions or the organizations which are assigned the responsibility to procure all the goods so that it can be distributed through the PDS system, and through the PDS system it can reach out to the poor people who are below the poverty line. So this is how the system of MSP works. Now we will see that what are the crops, what are the number of crops which falls under the MSP. Okay, so after we talked about that how MSP works, now we will talk about that what are the crops which fall under the MSP. Now the government make the announcement that we are going to declare the MSP on 23 of the crops, means they are ready to purchase on all of the 23 of the crops, but in reality that does not happen. The government says that we cannot purchase all of the crop on the MSP, and they make a claim of around 17 lakh crore of expenditure. So the government said that we are not in a position to go for making such a huge investment in purchasing all the commodity at the MSP, but we have to see that what are the commodities which are being although declared by the government. Starting with the cereals, this paddy, wheat, maize, sorghum, pear millet, barley, these are the, and the ragi, these are the crops, you know, which are declared by the government that they are going to purchase it at the MSP. Then pulses, from the pulses, chickpea, tur, moong, urad, lentil. In the oil seed, you know, these are the crops with the help of which we can you know, produce a lot of oils. Peanut, rapeseed, soybean, sunflower, safflower, and the Niger seed. And the last one is the list of the commercial crops. So the government you know, decide the MSP on some of the commercial crops also. So these are the crop which can be used for the commercial crops purposes, but other than that the farmers just go for making the self consumption also. You know, they just go for selling that 75% of their output in the market, and at least 20 to 25% of their output they are keeping it as a reserve for their own self consumption. But commercial seeds are, commercial crops are especially for the commercial, for the money making purposes, like copra, sugarcane, cotton, and the raw jute. So these are the types of crop on which the government make the announcement that we are going to purchase it on the MSP. One more thing, let's suppose he is a farmer. Okay, farmer is Ram. Okay, so Ram has the option either to sell his crop to the government or either to sell his crop to the private player. Okay, whoever offer him a good price, the farmer, Mr. Ram, has the complete independence to go for selling his crop. If the government is ready to offer him a high price, so he'll be able to sell his crop to the government. If the private player is offering him a high price, so he is able to sell to the private players. But when it comes to MSP, at least he has got a party in the form of government that will give him a good price. If not the private player, then he can depend on the government for procurement of his own crop, for selling his own crop. So let's move on to the next topic and see that how this MSP is being calculated, how the government is going to calculate the MSP, and this is very important issue. Okay, so now in the next slide we will talk about that how the MSP is being calculated, how we are going to calculate the MSP. And as I said that MSP's calculation or you know, the announcement of the price on the different output of this different crops is being done by CACP, Commission for Agricultural Crops and Production. This is a body which goes for announcing the price of the different crop. So now when we talk about that how this MSP is being calculated, the Swaminathan committee has said that the MSP should be 50% higher than the total cost of production. So Swaminathan committee, who was Swaminathan? MS Swaminathan. He is the father of Indian agriculture. He played a very important role, and because of his involvement and because of his role, you know, we have seen a great change in the India's agricultural productivity. So Swaminathan said that the MSP should be 50% higher than the total cost of production. What does it mean? It means that let's suppose the farmer just go for growing a crop and the total cost of production means the cost of insecticide, the cost of pesticide, the cost of fertilizer, the cost of seed, the cost of fuel, the cost of irrigation, the cost of you know, paying the wages to the hired labor. These are the costs which are technically called as the factor of production. Okay, so let's suppose that the cost is 10 rupees. So 50% higher than the factors of production or cost of production, 10 plus 5 is equal to 15 rupees. So now what should be the MSP? The MSP should be 15 rupees according to Swaminathan committee. Now there is a formula which has been, you know, developed to go for calculating, to make the calculation of MSP, and we will talk about this formula one by one. starting with the A2 method. Now what does A2 method means? A2 method include cost directly incurred by the farmer. Means A2 method formula consider or include all the costs which are directly incurred by the farmer or directly involved by the farmer. Now what are the costs? Like seed, fertilizer, pesticide, wages which are paid to the hired labor, fuel, irrigation, lease in land. Okay, so these are the costs which are directly incurred or which are directly involved by the farmer. Now A2 plus FL, this is the second formula, A2 plus FL, and remember this A2 plus FL formula is the formula which is used by the government of India also. Okay, so A2 means all the costs which are incurred by the farmers, FL means include the family labors or the imputed value of unpaid family labors. See, FL means the family labor. Now the family members who are involved on their own agricultural field, so because of their involvement on the agricultural field, they are foregoing some other job. Okay, this is technically what we call as a opportunity cost in the economics also, yani choosing the one option and leaving the another one. So the farmers or the family members of the farmer, they are choosing the option of working on their own agricultural field and leaving some other option, leaving the option of going to Delhi and Mumbai and work in a factory. They think that is it better to work on their own agricultural field. So so this formula says that this family cost should also be included. Now the third one, this is the C2. Remember the A2 plus FL is used by the government of India, and this C2 method is used or it is recommended by Swaminathan committee. The Swaminathan committee said that the C2 formula should be used. Now what does the C2 formula say? The C2 includes A2 plus FL. A2 means costs which are incurred by the farmers. FL means the family members who are working on their own agricultural field. Now what does the word C2 means? Things like imputed rent, interest foregone on own land, and the fixed capital asset. So these include three type of costs. One is the imputed rent. Now we will see that what is this imputed rent. See, there are two kind of rent. One is the actual rent. Actual rent. Now what is actual rent? Let's suppose that you have got one flat, okay, or you have got a piece of land. So you have given your land or that flat to a tenant, and when the tenant is occupying or just living on that particular flat, or he is doing some other kind of work in that particular land also or flat also, so he is paying you certain amount of money, he is paying you certain amount of charges, and that charges is technically what called as actual rent. This is very simple. The another kind of rent is the imputed rent. Now what is imputed rent? Imputed rent means you are residing in your own house and you are not giving that particular house to somebody who wants your house as a purpose of who wants to be a tenant in your house. So imputed rent means because because you are living in your own house, you are not giving to somebody else. This is also a type of cost which is there, which is technically called as the imputed rent. Now why it is cost and why it is calculated? See, when you are living in your own house, when you are residing in your own house, so you are also enjoying those kind of facility or services which is enjoyed by somebody else who is on the rent, who is a tenant, who is on the rent and occupied a building or the flat. Okay, so how we are calculating the imputed rent? This is also a question. Let's suppose that you have got a flat in the New Delhi's Connaught Place, okay, and this is a 2 BHK flat and you wanted to calculate the imputed rent. So there is a guy who is living in front of your flat and the cost of his 2 BHK flat is 20,000. So your owned flat or the imputed rent of your own flat will be 20,000 rupees. Second one is the interest foregone on owned land. Now what is interest foregone on owned land? Let's suppose that there is a guy who went to bank and he just write an application, made a request from the bank that he wanted a loan. So the bank person asked from him, he will ask him that have you got any kind of security? Let's suppose that the guy said that he didn't got any kind of security, he cannot give any kind of security. So obviously in that very circumstances there will be a lot of pressure or lot of risk on the shoulders of bank. So although the bank is going to release the loan, but they will charge from that very percent, let's suppose an interest of 10%. Another guy come, made a request from the bank, write an application, the bank asked that whether you have got any security or not. He said that okay, I have got a security. So bank said okay, in that very circumstances we are going to charge an interest of 5% on that particular loan. So the Swaminathan committee said that the guy who has got his own land, so he purchased his land because of, or he has done some kind of effort in the past, he has worked a lot, and because of all these effort and because of all these pain which he has suffered, he would have been able to purchase that land. So this is his own property, and he has hired or he has purchased this own property because of lot of sacrifices which he has involved in the past. So according to Swaminathan committee, he said that we should also include this particular interest which is foregone, means to leave on the own land, and the fixed capital asset. Okay, so C2 formula includes imputed rent, interest foregone on own land, and the fixed capital assets also. This is the cost of acquiring the fixed capital asset is also included. And fixed capital asset means the land, the tractor or harvester or different kind of technology which are today in the today's time are being used for the production of agricultural crop. So this is about the MSP, that how the MSP is being calculated. Now in the last slide I'll show you the 1 or 2 years past data about that how the government has made the calculation of MSP on A2 plus FL formula, and if we are going to calculate by C2 formula, so what is the difference? We can see the difference in the figure. The difference is too large. Let us see how the difference and in what form the difference is coming. Okay, so now in the very last discussion which we are making, we will be talking about that how the cost changes when we are going to apply the formula of A2 plus FL, and how the cost changes when we are going to apply the formula of A2 plus FL plus C2 formula. Okay, and this is the MSP of 2017-18 which has been declared by CACP on different kind of commodity which I have taken, and this is the MSP of 2018-19 on the different crops. And all the prices which has been mentioned is in the quintal form, means 1166 quintal per quintal. Okay, per quintal meaning per kgs means 11.67, because we are going to divide it by 100, so it will come 11.67 per kg. So now if you see paddy, jawar, bajra, ragi, maize, moong, urad, groundnut, sunflower, these are the crops. If you see the A2 plus FL cost, this is the cost 1166, 1619, 990, 1931, 1131. But when you are going to make a comparison with the C2, you can see the A2 plus FL cost says that 1166 is the cost. But when you are going to apply the formula of C2, you will find the cost of paddy is 1560 quintal, 2080, 2183 quintal, 1324 quintal. So there is a big difference between the cost which is coming when you are applying the different formula. So according to the formula, if you see the MSP of 2017-18, you will see that if really the formula the farmers have applied the C2 formula, so this is their cost of production 1560 quintal. So if they are producing 100 kgs of paddy, the cost of 100 kgs of paddy is 1560. And what is the assurance price or support price from the farmers, from the government side? 1550 to 1590. There is such a low price, such a low return which they are getting. But if you are going to make a comparison with 1166, so obviously there is a difference of 4 to 500. In the same manner, if you want, you can just have a screenshot of this table which we have plotted. This is the figure which is given by the CACP, and this is of 2017-18 MSP and 18 and 19 MSP. So after seeing all these things, you can understand that why the Swaminathan committee has recommended the C2 formula and what is its importance. So this was all about from the MSP. Still there are a lot of issues which needs to be discussed. We will take up the issue in some other day, in some other lecture. So for that, whatever we have discussed in the micro and macro, I'll request everyone to just go and check it out, all the videos which are related with micro and macroeconomics. So stay blessed guys, and keep on watching Economics on the Move. Thank you.